Hi guys, and welcome to my latest video. It's actually my first video of the new year, so happy new year to everybody. And I thought I'd kick off by showing you guys 10 of my more interesting recent sales. I've had a bit of a strange situation where my December wasn't amazing, it was just kind of like normal, but the first week of January, touchwood, so far has been fantastic, and I've sold a lot of things I thought I would have sold during the Christmas period, but I'm not complaining because things are selling and they're selling for good profits. So pretty happy. So I'm going to just get going with something, some items that, some of my more interesting items. It's kind of like my 10 of the best recent items I've sold. So before I ramble on too much, I'm going to just get on with it. The first item I want to talk about is this large Laurel and Hardy drunk figure ornament. And it's basically got Laurel and Hardy there, as you can see. You know, well, I can't remember who's who now, but one of them's picking up the other. Who's got himself into a bit of a state after having a bit too much drink. You can see that the actual ornament is quite worn, it's a bit dirty, but for a Laurel and Hardy collector, it's really good. This is something I actually picked up at a boot fair at the beginning of last season. It was one of the first ones, so it was a bit quiet, a bit wet, and it was not something I necessarily would have picked up, but I paid £2 for it, and it's gone now, and I'm grateful for that. It's gone for £20, so that's pretty decent. Next item I want to talk about is pretty cool. It's been mentioned on the Facebook group already, I believe, and it's Teasmades. So Teasmades are a peculiarly God, I can't even say the word. Peculiarly, peculiar. It's so hard to say that word correctly for me. Peculiar. Anyway, it's a it's specific more to the UK market. These are basically, automated tea makers. So you're meant to have them in your bedroom. They have in this case, this one's a more vintage one. It's made by Goblin. It's got like a lamp on the top, and you've got the original kettle and jug and kettle there as well. So you press a button, or you can set a timer, and it will make you a tea in the morning. So I paid, I think, £8 for this, and it went for 38 plus £10 next day shipping. So I'm pretty happy with that. So good sell. Moving on now. This is an interesting one for me. I paid £3 for this at a local charity shop, and I've ended up selling it for £60. It's the Star Wars Science The Force Trainer by Uncle Milton. Now, this is quite a cool toy. You're meant to wear that headset that you can see on the right, and it's meant to track your electronic brain impulses or whatever to control the fan at the bottom of this base, which it then blows that ball up and down, and you're meant to be able to control that with the Force. So it's pretty cool. It's a bit of a gimmicky toy, but it sold for £60, and I'm very happy with that. Next item up is yet another Teasmade. Now this one I paid a fiver for, I think, and this is a more modern Teasmade made by Swan. And again, it came with the original kettle. Well, actually, the kettle's built in on this, but the ceramic jug, as you can see there, and this one sold for £44.99. So very good return from a fiver. Now, next item, this is probably my most exciting item. During the summer, I picked up 4 like little old tins for £2. One of them was like a mint chocolate tin, which someone bought for £6, and one of them was another cheap one, which sold for about that kind of money, about a tenner, I think. And I've still got an OXO one left, which hasn't sold yet. But this was the one that I found when I got home that there was value in. It was purely by chance, so I know I don't have a knowledge on these items, but I did research it. And I researched it and I found out that it was actually on a website as a collectible kind of item, and it was circa 1900. So I was able to put that in my listing. If the condition had been better, I think I could have gotten a lot more money for this. I did originally have it up at something silly like £100, but I think it's achievable because I've seen similar tins sell for more than that, almost 200, but in really good condition. So this was battered condition. You can see very, very rusty, very damaged. It's a tiny tin. I mean, I can't believe someone really wanted this for even £50, but there you go. I mean, I did have a couple of guys. I mean, Ken Chapman will be aware of this when he's selling his kind of antique items. You do get people offering you lower amounts. I actually had a couple of offers of £10 on this, telling me I was way overpriced, and in its condition, it's a tenner at most. But I held out and I got 50 quid. So I'm very happy with that sale. That's one of my best sales of recent times, I'd say. From the equivalent of 50 pence to 50 quid. All right, next item. This is an interesting one. Picked this up from a local charity shop as well, and it's the Scalextrics lap timer, electronic lap timer. Paid £2 for it. Sold it for 16. You can see it's in its original box. Easy to test item, easy to post. Pretty happy with that. Bear in mind, all my sales, these are just sale prices, so you've got to take out postage in most cases, and also the eBay and PayPal fees, as you'd expect. Next item. This was quite a nice sale for me because I remember buying this because I was too late to this lady's stall. She had already been ravaged for all her GameCube items. So I saw people walking away with Zelda, Mario, and the consoles. And obviously, I was just too late to the party. But luckily, she was bringing this out, and no one gave a damn about it, thankfully. And I got it for £2. It's an old Philips Super Tandem 2 tape deck machine. Made in Austria, which is really good as well. So it tells you it's quality item, it's vintage, and it finally sold for 30 quid. So from 2 to 30, I'm happy with that. Really good profit on that. Next item, another kind of vintagey item. I'm really liking my older vintagey quirky items, and they sell for good amounts as well, which is nice. These are vintage B&A indoor carpet bowls, Banda carpet bowls with a 2 bias, whatever that means. Unfortunately, the box had a bit of damage where they've torn, the box is torn at the hinge. If I can show you that, it's come apart. So you can see the lid has just come apart. But still, I paid I think £3 or £2 for these, and I got 30 quid on them. So again, good profit even when you take out the fees, etc. Okay, second to last item. This is an interesting one as well because it's not something I normally dabble with. Local charity shop I had tons of LPs, and I can't normally be bothered to look through them. I know some of them can be worth money, but I don't know a great deal. I know that rock ones tend to go for good money, so your Van Halens and that kind of thing, or like your, any rock and roll type ones like Led Zeppelin. But this was by Hawkwind, In Search of Space. And unfortunately, this is incomplete. It's meant to come with a logbook, and if it had come with a logbook, I could have probably gotten about 30 quid for this. But it sold even without the logbook, the collectible logbook. And I'm guessing it sold after the passing of Lemmy from Motorhead. But I'm glad it sold for 19 quid still, and I'm very happy with that. Now onto my final item. Now this is another boot fair item that I've been sat on from the summer. Paid £5 for this. This is a vintage 1980s Garfield telephone. The issue with this, or not issue really, is that this is actually a French telephone. So the socket is a French telephone socket, so I was unable to test it here. But and the box was a bit tatty, but I paid a £5 and I ended up waiting out and getting £25 for it. So really happy with that. So I think those sales, what I like about them is they're kind of unique. And the benefit of going for unique items is they're exempt from the normal worries, as it were. So you're not buying these items in wholesale. They're more about the hunt. So as long as you're up for the hunt, as long as you're keen-eyed and aware, you will pick these up and you can sell them and you can talk about them on the internet without really any worry. I can tell you that Garfield telephones with from the 80s are worth 25 quid. I can tell you that because it's not like they're being stocked by the dozens at your local Tesco and we're all going to rush out and try to get them, or you can get them from Alibaba or wherever. You can't. It is a matter of luck, and it's a matter of getting it in the hunt. For example, I can tell you about that old vagabond cigarette tin that I sold for 50 quid, because how often are you going to come across that in reality? Not often. So there's no worry about sharing. I'm not having to think, oh God, I've got to protect what I know, because otherwise everyone will start buying these things. Yes, of course, if you're aware of it and you know, if we're at the same boot fair and you're now aware of it and you weren't before, yes, you could potentially now pick that up. But that's fun of the hunt, really. Anyone can pick up anything, so I don't really see that as an issue. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and seeing the items that I bought and sold at decent profit. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down, and please leave any comments you have in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.